This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports Chaco Cosmetics. I'm still trying to get that new one right. We're here with Michael Conlan. How are you, mate?
All good, mate. All good.
Probably a bit different, obviously, from what we're used to. With the, you're not obviously just a boxer. You're now obviously involved in the promotional game. How did obviously Conlan Boxing come about? Was it you was sort of leading the way and saying to Jamie, "Come on, let's do your own thing"? How did it come about?
It's been something that has been on our mind for a while, and Jamie mentioned me kind of last year. We could do these shows yourself, and I was thinking about it. I was like, listen, we'll just leave it as it is at the minute, and then pre-feel I was just, why don't we just do it ourselves? So we said, fucking let's do it, and we took the leap and done the show ourselves, and said, listen, this is what we could do, and set up a legacy for family, for our name, for Belfast Boxing.
And I know, like I've always said to Jamie, always said, when you look at Eddie Hearn, obviously Eddie Hearn knows the fight game, but he's never been a fighter.
Yeah.
Frank Warren's never been involved as a fighter.
Yeah.
Jamie's always been involved in the fight and always said he's perfect for a role of promoter, because when you hear him in interviews and everything else and talking about it, he's so passionate about it, and he can rhyme it off. He doesn't need a sheet beside him to go this, that or the other. It rhymes off, and obviously you've still been an active boxer as well. What sort of is your role within it? Are you letting Jamie sort of take the reins and sort of you learning from him, or?
The feel that Jamie took the reins. I was seeing a different side of boxing. Obviously, the financial side of having to pay for everything, out there, and seeing the cost of things which are crazy at times. But it was just seeing that different side of it and learning from him. But with me fighting, I was in the back of it. Didn't worry about much things. Let him worry about everything. And he's fantastic at what he does, so I wasn't too worried about what he was doing. But with this show now, I've been more hands-on. Obviously, I have no fight coming up, so I've been more involved and seeing the ins and outs of everything. And what's interesting is it's exciting. It's a different side of this sport, and something that I'm enjoying doing. Obviously, because I'm still fighting, I won't be involved in every big show, because I got to focus on my own. Which every fight for me now, after my last fight, every fight is always the next fight is always the biggest fight of your career. So that's where I'm at the minute. I'm just focusing on my fights, but when I'm not fighting, I'm involved like this one.
And when obviously Jamie was finishing off his career, obviously you in the crowd, and you sort of weren't liking the punishment it was taking. Is it sort of different now that you're sort of trying to match make fights, and you're sort of going, what do we want from this fight? I know Sean's been hard to match as he was building up before obviously winning the fight, but he was very hard to match. He's sort of now looking at it and going, here Jamie, I have an idea for an opponent for this. This is going to be a war. What sort of, is it you want wars in every fight?
Listen, I want to progress with fighters. I want to have the fighters say I'm working with. I want to build them correctly. I'm not going to be throwing fighters into fights which they're not ready for. But obviously you want exciting fights in the car. But that's the thing. The amount of talent we have here and the places they're at in their careers. There's room there for exciting fights, there's room there for career building fights, and obviously comeback fights, things to get there. This all fits into the schedule, but I think the fighters who we work with will be fighters who will build correctly and move in the right way. I've obviously been working with Top Rank my whole career, and still working with Top Rank, and I've seen how they do things, and I spoke to the top promoters in the world, and the best matchmakers like your Bruce Trumper and your Brad Goodman. I know how they think and how they work, because I've been around them for so long now, and they've told me how to match this guy, match that guy, and what way to do it, and how to do it. So we have a good understanding of what way to do things without making it boring, but exciting at the same time, but still career building. You have to have an eye for it, and you have to know what you're doing. And when you sit around guys that get the experience, it always helps.
Definitely good to have what do they call like a bread sort of mind where everything soaks in and stays in.
Yeah.
It's a probably niche market you're sort of going into as well, because obviously I know MTK's been involved with shows here the last few years, but we've had no Matchroom shows since Burnett Saniakov at the end of 2017. You were actually the last fight at the SSE as well in 2018. I was saying to Jamie there recently, I was saying you were the last fight, and that was more than 3 years ago. Is it sort of now you're saying, because I know when we started the press conference for your sort of homecoming thing, I was sort of saying, when's the plans to get back to the SSE, because everybody sees the SSE's plans. What's the is it sort of building sort of the grounds up with Ulster Hall and then build?
Yeah, I think so. I think looking at the show and how it's sold and how it's going, I think we've made it's our first show here, but I think we've maybe gone out of the Ulster Hall already. Saying that, and I will still be in the Ulster Hall because we'll still have different fighters to put here, but I think Lewis Crocker could be a soon stud in the Odyssey and in the SSE. I think, in my opinion, he's the best prospect we have in these shores. He's exciting. He's going to start to get into real fights now. I think on Friday he'll shine, and then we've got to progress it again and step him up again. And who knows, we could see Lewis possibly heading in the SSE at some stage next year. With the backing of your Paddy McCoys and Sean McCombs and everybody else coming through. So yeah, listen, the talent is here, and I think that's definitely something that's in the back of our minds is getting back to the SSE. Obviously, me being the last person there, I'd love to be there again at some stage, and I definitely think it's a possibility with more shows being on these shores. So yeah, it's something that we plan to do at some stage.
And Conlan Boxing is obviously not just for people sort of looking at it with a sort of one-track mind and going, let's say MTK fighters on the show. You just want to work with every promoter that's obviously whether it's Boxing Ireland, whether it's Mark Dunlop. You just want to work with everybody and give everybody opportunities to broaden their own careers.
100%. Listen, there's loads of MTK fighters on this show, a few MTK fighters on the show, but simply Jamie's been working with these guys since they started their careers, and was managing them just up until we started Conlan Boxing. So there's kind of a handful period where he's dealing with them and obviously getting them out in shows and stuff. So yeah, listen, we're happy to work with everybody. We see Owen and Neil on the show. He's a Boxing Ireland this year, Owen is, and a few other fighters here on Danny Boy Keaton and stuff. So yeah, it's exciting. The relationships we have with everybody here on these shows is fantastic. So we're looking to get everybody. Plus, we're about to announce our first signing in the next 7 days, and then our second signing soon after that. So yeah, it's exciting. We're not just promoting, we're managing as well, and we're starting to build our own stable. And
it's sort of the excitement is sort of you have your own career and sort of going, oh no, I'm fighting for this, and it's that excitement of other ones. I have a fair idea of potentially who one of them can be, and I'm not going to obviously say it on camera. But obviously looking at your own career, obviously you've had great news this week that obviously yourself and Leigh Wood's going to fight in 2022. I guess the initial plan was potentially to fight in December this year until Leigh had surgery.
Yeah.
Were you sort of surprised that DAZN outbid Top Rank for it?
No, it was. I being involved in this kind of side of it now, I know the ins and outs and how it went. I was always guaranteed what I'm guaranteed, and Leigh Wood wasn't. So Top Rank were willing to bid as much to pay him what he's getting. So Matchroom and DAZN were, but I think more so DAZN, the fact that they can have maybe do it in America, and that's my opinion. What I think what's kind of happening is that they're aiming the American market. They're willing to pay that type of money for the fight.
And I know that obviously a couple of people put up posts in the last few days, and you start looking at it and going Taylor Serrano, Conlan Wood, and you start building other fights into it. It's St Patrick's Day written all over it, or St Patrick's weekends. I think it's a Thursday it falls.
I think a Thursday is good still. I still think a Thursday is good. St Patrick's is St Patrick's Day, and you could do a Thursday or a Friday. But I actually checked the garden is free on the Thursday. I haven't checked the Friday yet. I just checked St Patrick's Day, and it is free, the big room. But it makes sense. Katie delivers Serrano, what a fight. That's an unbelievable fight actually, and I obviously shared two Olympic games with Katie and was on the amateur team with her for so many years at Sparta and stuff. So I'd be backing Katie, but I know Amanda Serrano as well, and I actually am a fan of her. I think she's a class fighter, so it's such a fight. Obviously there's a lot of Irish fighters too, and then me and Leigh Wood. The big room in the garden, 20k plus, I think easy enough, no problem.
I know your post the other day, you said 20k plus easy, and obviously the money tags after Daddy, which obviously he likes as well.
Yeah.
But it's probably smart business in a way, because I guess probably you've been in the business side of obviously the management now as well. Eddie Hearn will obviously try and show you obviously what the zone's like to sort of try and lever you away from Top Rank. So him doing this bidding thinks that he's the belief he wants you. Obviously he'll want the winner regardless, but do you see that sort of, I know Jamie spoke previously to say he could still campaign at 122 and obviously 126. Now with this opportunity with Wood, do you now want to just focus primarily on featherweight?
Yeah, definitely. Listen, there was always a possibility of me making 122, and I've shown I can make it before, and I probably could make it if I really tried. But nah, I was huge 122. I'm a big featherweight. I'm going to be even bigger now because now I have that space to be able to build the muscle back on again and strengthen up again. Because obviously, when I was making 122, I had to cut some muscle. Now I don't have to do that. Now I can be as strong as I want to be and as big as I want to be in the weight. So I'm excited. I can't be in either weight. That doesn't bother me. I know that kind of Leigh Wood's probably backing on the fact that he's thinking I'm small, but I think he'll probably get a shot when he sees me there.
And I know from Leigh Wood seemed to think he's power, and that I was getting my hair cut this morning. Somebody was talking about the fight, and they were saying obviously they like Leigh Wood, and I was saying, you know, he's, yes, to be fair, he beat Kanju, but or Zhu Khan or whatever way they pronounce it, but that wasn't. He was out of the ring for so long. He didn't throw his high repetitive punches. You early on in your career, people will look at it and go, Michael Conlan's not a puncher, but you were fighting people that were literally running away from you in America, where other people were getting, probably Shakur Stevenson came through that time where he was getting people that came to they stand in the pocket and he was able to knock them out, whereas you were running after people going, like, are you here to fight or what? So people look at your career and think you're not a puncher.
I think you know, it's probably a common misconception. You know, people think I'm not a puncher. I have no problem with them thinking it. No, TJ thought it and learned it was different. I could bang a bit, and it was hurting them. So yeah, they can think what they want to think, but you know, if I was the puncher, people would be walking through me, and I understand that they would walk clean through me if I wasn't able to punch all the guys I've fought so far. So no one has done that. Everybody's still kind of moved on the back foot, and anybody who has come forward has went down. So yeah, listen, I know that the biggest concussive puncher, Leigh Wood, thinks he's the biggest puncher in the world, which is great, no problem. Hit me if you can.
TJ was obviously a puncher as well.
TJ is a puncher, and you know, he hit me as clean a shot, and it didn't affect me. So I know I can take a shot. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about Leigh Wood's power, and obviously I understand it, and you know, you gotta box the way you gotta box. But I'm excited. I love when people say, like TJ as well, when he's like, you can't punch. I was like, I'll show you on Saturday. And I did, and I think it was like in the first round, you know, I threw something and TJ like nodded at me or laughed at me or done something, and the next shot I hit him was like a jab across the eye. His facial expression changed, and I think he knew from then that, you know, he's not as weak as puncher. He's probably thinking of paper in my hands now to walk through me. So the fact that he could, I think, changes his train of thought there.
And with obviously the TJ fight, I guess, you know, probably looking at another one that probably went sort of under the radar, Frampton Denaire. It got better over time. Obviously Denaire became a world champion again.
Yeah.
If TJ becomes a world champion again, although he's just turned 35 this week, but if he was to become a world champion again, do you think that fight people might then appreciate it more and go, and Michael Conlan done a number in TJ and he's a world champion again?
If they did. If he doesn't, you know, it's something that I don't even think about. I don't think about, you know, what I've passed and what I've done, and that's irrelevant, because you know, the next fight is Leigh Wood. I think when I go and beat Leigh Wood, you know, I'll start to get a bit more credit. But even at that, I think I got good credit for beating TJ because of his credentials and, you know, how he's handled, you know, the big guys like Danny Roman and all these kind of guys, and I was very, very comfortable in there when I fought TJ.
And it was that sort of fight you needed, I guess, sometimes to show you were ready. You know, at times you're never really ready for a world title fight unless you fought someone that's been there. So even though it was an All-Ireland dust-up, it was still the perfect sort of fight to blend into a Leigh Wood fight as well.
Definitely, I think so. I think, you know, it was the fight I needed. Listen, the Beluda fight was my first time at 123, first time doing 12 rounds. I don't think I performed too well, but I thought I actually won a lot wider than what the scores were. But that set me up perfectly for the TJ fight. It set me up perfectly for this, and just showing me I am where I need to be and I'm in the right place. So, and I think, you know, if you look at my last few performances, Takush at 120 was 126. You know, Beluda wasn't that good at 122, and then TJ at 126, well, 124. I think I've always performed best around that featherweight limit anyway. So, yeah, I think this is the right way for me, and this is where I need to be.
What's your thoughts, obviously, in the the Leo Santa Cruz status? Obviously, he hasn't fought at featherweight since. I
don't understand that. I don't understand why they haven't relinquished him and just upgraded Leigh to super champion, because I believe he is super champion. He beat Kanzu, who, you know, was ranked in the Ring magazine rankings number 3 at the time, and he went in and done a job on him. So he does deserve that position, that super champion position, because Leo hasn't fought there, and if I'm honest, I don't think he'll fight there after when he's supposed to face the winner. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a weird situation. Listen, don't get me wrong, I love to fight Leo Santa Cruz. It's a fight I would love. If they said to me you could fight Leo Santa Cruz as a super featherweight, I would probably fight him as super featherweight. It's no problem. But yeah, it would be a great one. That
it's one of them you don't want to become a paper champion or an email champion. Remember Scott Quigg obviously became a super champ, obviously by that. You'd rather win it in the ring than get upgraded.
That's why I think Leigh Wood should be upgraded. You know, if I'm honest, I think he should be upgraded because he beat the champion. Leo hadn't boxed there, and they have numerous times they probably could have relinquished him, but they didn't. So yeah. If I can get the chance to fight him for the super title, it'd be fantastic.
And I know rumour mill was sort of indicating he may potentially still be fighting in December this year with the.
He's supposed to, but I think top rank against the Cesar, you've got the sport title fight coming up. I was happy to. I'm only back this week. I've been in camp for 7 weeks, so. I've been training. I haven't been fucking around. I haven't been messing about. I would have liked a little fight in between, but they probably just don't want me to risk anything.
Definitely, particularly when it's going to be the biggest fight of your career as well. Looking ahead, obviously to Friday night. Obviously you've been able to sit ringside and obviously watch the action. What fight are you looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to seeing Lewis. I'm hearing fantastic things about him in the gym. And I've been saying for ages that, in my opinion, he's the best prospect, and he's short. He's so exciting, he's so much power, and so much ability. The talent-wise, technical ability, his technical ability actually gets overlooked, but he really does have it. So I'm excited to see him put on a performance. When you watch Lewis, you're always expecting an exciting fight. And I think in that last fight against the German guy, he showed something that he hadn't showed before. He answered questions. He had that kind of gut check. The guy was putting it on him, taking his best shots and putting it back on him. And Lewis at times in there looked a little weary, but then bit down the gum shield and got the job done. So for me, in my opinion, that was the best fight he's had because of everything involved in it. It may not have been his most dominant fight where he's KO'ing people, but in terms of learning and stuff, that was a fantastic fight for him. So I'm looking forward to seeing him and obviously fighting Corey.
The Hammer.
When you watch Corey, the Hammer. When you watch him, it's excitement every time as well. These are two guys in the same gym competing for pound biggest puncher in the country. So at the bottom, it's crazy. So Paulie being such a nice guy, you just don't expect it, and then he comes out and does what he does. So I'm excited to see Paulie. I think he'll put another dominant performance on as well, and obviously Sean McComb in a similar type looking fight. The Gwyn fight, someone who comes forward non-stop. So I think it's the right fight. Obviously, he's going to be favoured against Ronnie because he's physically much bigger. Not like Gwyn, they were both the same size. Sean's never the same size as anybody. So Ronnie's a bit smaller. So I think his relentlessness and his toughness is always fantastic. So he's going to ask Sean questions and maybe put him in positions where he was in that last fight mentally, seeing that non-stop relentless pressure coming, taking the shots and keep coming. And I think he'll go out and show that that was just a slip up. That's not the real Sean McComb. I think this is the should have real Sean McComb. And I think you could probably get Ronnie Crocker.
He was sort of saying that that's life. You're going to get obstacles and stuff in the way. I think the last time I spoke to him before today was September of last year. He's become a dad. He's opened his own business. He said his first defeat and he's bounced back. And what could he ask for better of a 12-month period, particularly going through a pandemic? But he seems to have learned and adapted, and now under Pete Taylor, he's probably going to show that the Gwyn fight was a blip, and he'll probably blow him out of there.
I remember before the Gwyn fight, he was in Belfast and he hadn't sparred. And I said, I don't think he should take his fight. He was like, nah. Sean being Sean was just super confident, as he is. But I said, you're not. I didn't think he was ready because he hadn't had the right preparation for the fight. So I was saying, I don't think you should take it, but he was adamant he would take it. So you live and you learn. These are the mistakes you can make in life, and if you don't learn from it, you're still going to make that mistake again. But I think he learned from it, and he changed his setup. He went over to Pete Taylor, and I think Pete is, has kind of brought him back to where he needs to be, and mentally I think he's back where he needs to be. So I'm excited to see him on Friday. I'm excited to see the performance he puts on, and I'm hoping he puts a stamp in and makes a statement.
If there's one final question, obviously we had the field obviously back, obviously 2019, 2020 the pandemic, 2021 back. The initial plan was obviously to make it bigger for 2020. Obviously you defeat Leigh Wood in potentially March, depending on when the date is, but obviously the plan there potentially to have a 20,000 at Falls Park for probably potentially a unification as well. You know, you could probably bring...
That's what I would hope for. That's what I would hope for. I would love a unification. And even if I had one before against Leos and the Cruise on Cinco de Mayo in May, I would still go to the Fela in the summer. Yeah, I would love that. No, I think definitely we can do 20,000 this time. We can make it as big as possible in that part, and it will still fill out because tickets are just, fly when it comes to the Fela. So yeah, I would love that. I would love that to happen, and I think I will. Listen, we're already in talks with Jamie and stuff, is talking to the guys at Fela and I, and planning for next year.
Definitely as well. Listen, Michael, thanks very much for catching up with you, and obviously all the very best for your second show on Friday evening.
Brilliant. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, take care.